Sarah Boone's boozy lifestyle allegedly led to a bedtime blunder she couldn't just bury under the blanket. As she went to sleep on the night of the 23rd of February 2020, she may have dreamed of the day she had been with her boyfriend George. In her mind, there were puzzles, games, and dancing with the dog, and it had been a good day. And she seemed to remember some wine, but it was like, really fuzzy beyond that. Sometime before bed, Sarah claimed the couple played a game of hide and seek. One or both of them thought it would be funny if George hid in a suitcase. Somehow, he squeezed in and she zipped it shut. We're not trying to be party poopers, but if they were indeed trying to play hide and seek, they were doing it wrong. First of all, the seeker in this case hid the hider herself. But hey, let's be generous and say, perhaps due to their intoxication, they wanted to lower the difficulty level. Fine. To be fair, in her blacked out condition, the seeker would have likely forgotten the hider's location anyway. Alright, so we all know that's when the counting starts. 1, then 2, then 3, and more. Somewhere between 4 and the bottom of the next wine bottle, she went upstairs to bed and left George in the lurch. Sadly, he never had a chance, and his previous cries for help went unanswered by a callous observer. This is Sarah Boone, and she's been feeling a little claustrophobic lately. Doesn't anyone care that she's been there over 1,000 days? She told the judge and the world that she's ready to get the show on the road. Hey, sounds like a good idea. This is absolutely not intentional, but this is absolutely criminal. Somehow, folded into the fetal position inside this eerily pulsating suitcase, George was in a fight for his survival. His desperate pleas went unanswered, and he was only mocked as he begged for his life the only way he could.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Try to keep that image in mind as we delve into the mind of a woman who thinks her desperate pleas are going unanswered, and she is being openly mocked on the internet as she begs for help from her lawyers the only way she can. She is writing letters to her legal team, the judge, and if necessary, the governor himself. We think it would be amazing if that happens, and we'll keep you updated. In the meantime, if you're new to the case or just need a refresher, that's coming up. But first, if you're new to the channel, welcome! If you've just been lurking in the background, watching us from afar for a while, we probably understand you the best of all. Please take the plunge and subscribe to Absolutely Criminal so you're up to date on all our latest episodes. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed yourself so far. Now back to that good day in February of 2020. It was the 24th, to be precise, and transpired in Winter Park, Florida. Sarah and George led a chaotic lifestyle full of booze, mutual abuse, arrests, and bailouts. Several of their neighbors gave multiple accounts of hearing arguments and seeing Sarah stumble through life. She was reportedly drunk at any hour of the day, and George liked to partake himself. Before stumbling up the staircase that night, as we mentioned, Sarah said the couple played a very unconventional and improbable game of hide and seek. We don't know how high she counted before ascending that flight, and we might not even know about George's unfortunate end without one little detail. A stumbling, drunk Sarah Boone felt the need to document it all on her phone. Here, George can be heard calling out her name while she slurs her words and mocks her captive.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Whatever iniquities George committed in his past are irrelevant, as no human being should ever die the agonizing death he did. She was arrested, and of course had one of the most fascinating police interrogations ever recorded. We covered it extensively in episode 18 of Absolutely Criminal, so if you'd like to check it out, links are on screen and in the description. Over the next several months and years, Sarah stewed inside her cell as she burned bridges with 5 lawyers. According to court filings, most of the attorneys cited their mutual dissatisfaction with their client as the reason for their motion to withdraw. The following is speculation on our part, but here's how we imagine most of those conversations playing out. Sarah, I really think we could work out a plea deal here so you won't spend the rest of your life in prison.
You think that I did that intentionally?
That really doesn't matter here. George is still dead, you captured your own crime on video, and you'll sound heartless in front of a jury, so...
You can clearly tell that I had been drinking some. You can clearly tell.
We could mention intoxication in your defense, yes, but I'm advising you that it wouldn't...
I did not intentionally do this. No malicious content or effort was towards this. No malicious.
As we discussed in episode 19 of Absolutely Criminal, Sarah wrote a letter to Judge Wooten in April of 2022 that we imagine made the court clerk chuckle as it was passed on to the judge. Here are just a few highlights.
Forgive me if this is the wrong approach in contacting you directly, but I wanted you to be fully aware of the magnitude of my shock and disappointment in the betrayal of Mr. Padilla, as I have not in any way by anyone provided any explanation for the aforementioned withdrawal, etc. Thank you beyond measure for your very needed assistance and understanding. I am flying blind. I don't know the process, procedure, or protocol for any of this since I have never been in the current situations I am in. Again, I thank you profusely. I await your response with further direction in order to be in attendance and proceed forward. Exceptionally grateful, Sarah Boone.
About 6 months after that amazing missive, she penned a sternly worded letter to her attorney, Frank Bankowitz. At Absolutely Criminal, we try to imagine both sides of the criminal equation, and we can certainly understand Sarah feeling trapped in an overloaded legal system, moving at a frustrating pace. It's just hard to sympathize with her, assuming she did what she recorded herself doing. Her presumptive innocence can't erase that fact, and George's cries from within that suitcase will be something we never forget. Sarah likely only remembers bits and pieces of that night. With a black heart and a blacked-out brain, she went up those stairs. As she continued the letter, she tried to impress upon the reader her helplessness, having missed 4 of her son's birthdays and feeling cut off from communication.
I want to get on with my life, Mr. Bankowitz, and not miss any more time necessary from my son. I've already missed 4 of his birthdays and spent 3 of my own in here. Please understand.
Toward the closing of this letter, she hailed her powers of patience and heaped love and godly gratitude upon Mr. Bankowitz.
I'm so very grateful, Mr. Bankowitz, for all you are doing, have done, and will do. We're in this together. I'm so blessed that you are my attorney. God has put us in each other's paths for a reason, and I can't wait to see what you and he will do.
Meanwhile, it was attorney Frank Bankowitz who was banking on frankly removing himself from a bad situation. But after nearly 3 years, countless false starts, and trial delays, court records seem to indicate Judge Wayne C. Wooten had seen enough of the show, which Sarah would later say she was eager to get on the road. That's near the end of this next letter, which she furiously scribbled and fired off from her cell. It was November 3rd, 2022, now 984 days since George breathed his last, and the Torres family gathered to mourn his life. All Sarah appeared to mourn was for her life, as it appeared there was no remorse and very little self-awareness.
Honorable Judge Wooten, forgive me in advance for having to utilize your invaluable time to ask the current progress of my case. But after not having any form of communication with my attorney appointed by you, now after 11 weeks and counting, after 4 letters to my attorney appointed by you with no response, and after finally finding an outside resource to inform me of the uneventful, confusing filed documents online by my attorney appointed by you, I am still waiting with a perpetual question mark over my head.
Poor put upon Sarah, solo in her cell and selling herself as a victim.
No letters, no video visits, no face-to-face visits, no answered phone calls from my attorney, or even a response from you, Your Honor, regarding one of my letters expressing my legitimate concern of what's going on in my case and where's my attorney. It has now been over 4 months since being appointed another attorney, number 6, and not by my decision, influence, or choice. And almost 3 of the 4 months not hearing from said attorney. 8/22/22, last correspondence. Why? What is the reason? Why haven't I received a letter, even a 15-minute video update, anything? Even after my PTC on 10/25 is what truly confuses me and nonetheless upsets me. The fact I was not in attendance so I could know what's going on in my case, especially considering I have not heard from my attorney in 11 weeks and should have been included. Why was I not? This is my case. Was Mr. Binkowitz even there to represent me? I don't know anything still. The problem is that my constitutional rights are incorrectly being waived without my knowledge or permission. I've never signed anything, nor verbalized the idea I wish to waive my appearances to any of my court dates. I want to be present for all dates going forward, please, regardless the significance. All are significant to me since my attorney fails to relay any information in any way. If he's not going to, then I must myself inform myself, as always, my entire life.
We can't continue this letter without striking up the world's tiniest orchestra as the mini violins play the soundtrack to her life.
What else can I do? Who else can I seek help from? I have you and God, Judge Wooten. If I do have an attorney, where is he? There's so much to do all over in my case, hopefully the right way this time. Off to a rocky start, where I wonder how more extended my time will be on top of the almost soon to be 36 months, 3 years already. Is this how the justice system really works? Am I being penalized for wanting to be fully involved in everything in my case and intelligent enough to know how my case is being handled is unjust and, from my point of view, disastrous, considering I'm still here sitting in Orange County Jail, counting the days and praying my 6th attorney contacts me and I or we can move forward, finally coming an end to this seemingly endless debacle. You would think, considering the circus show my entire case is being made out to be with all the hype sensationalism, and publicity, I received a letter all the way from across the pond, England, the other day that it would be handled more professional, better. I learned something new every day about facts, events, and outcomes in my case from all the inmates and officers as well. I wonder if they might know where my attorney is.
Understandably, lawyers appear loath to return Sarah's calls, but no doubt they did the very best with what they had to work with. As far as the letter is concerned, it only gets better from there.
Bottom line, please understand. I don't want to be here any longer. I don't want to be hindered any longer in getting just to the starting line again. I don't want to be suppressed in being heard finally, truthfully, and correctly. So, Judge Wooten, when will I hear from my attorney? Or you, please, just with some kind of response other than a copy of my letters I keep sending, which I already have. In the meantime, it is my understanding the following documents have been filed in my case since the appointment of Frank Bankowitz, my attorney, MIA.
After presenting a fairly comprehensive list of correspondence, she continued,
That's it? In the almost 4 months I've been a client of Mr. Bankowitz, this is the only progress? What's next? Where are my copies of everything filed ever? This is one way I can have some idea of what's happening. And please remember, I have no access to a computer nor any reliable outsourced resource to check anything for me. Please mail copies. I'm trying to come up with any solution possible to keep me, the other party in my case, informed and updated. This also is a part of the court's responsibility. I would especially think, knowing I've not heard from my attorney in any way for 11 weeks, I want to be included.
And now came the usual best part of Sarah's scribbles, the closing, where she pours on the sugar, making sure to flatter the recipient while reminding them of what a sacrifice she's making for humanity.
As always, I thank you for your time and understanding. Please help however you are able. I am not helpless. I am ready to get this show on the road and to hear from someone other than myself asking the same question over and over. What's going on in my case? Or how many more pens will I exhaust asking? Grateful and patiently waiting, I await your response. Sincerely, Sarah Boone.
And so November came and went, and there she sat in the confines of her cell, crying out in a small space, and no one gave a damn. So after stewing an additional month, Sarah decided it was worth it. Although pens were a precious and finite commodity in prison, she would sacrifice one more in the hopes of capturing hearts and minds.
Where's my attorney? Where are you, Judge Wooten? I understand the holiday mode everyone is in as we inmates sit and wait for it to pass. But before I or we come to the end of yet another year, almost 3 for me in OCCD, it would be respectful of the court to please advise the status and location of my attorney foremost, and also provide any real progress of my case, which is difficult to do and further without an attorney. Nonetheless, after being appointed so many, I thought hopefully the level of dysfunction would be lessened. Unfortunately, to date, I am sadly mistaken and feel I've been severely misled. Even more unfortunate seems to be the lack of representation from any party of my case, other than myself. Look at the numbers.
She couldn't believe the lack of professionalism and urgency shown by the judge, her attorney, and other staff in the legal system. Now she turned her attention to an upcoming hearing.
In the meantime, and in preparation for the upcoming status hearing on 12/20 at 10:45 a.m., which I just received notice for, thank you for the inclusion, I am in the process of writing to our governor regarding the mismanagement of my case and the multiple added obstacles and deterrents I am experiencing, trying to avoid any further time-consuming hindrances or setbacks going forward.
We know it's not Christmas anymore, but it would be one big bonus from Santa if DeSantis receives a letter from Sarah Boone any time of the year. That's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He's a polarizing figure, but if we have found something we can all come together on, from young to old and left to right, we would all love for Sarah Boone to write a letter to the governor, just by exhausting one more pen. But she went on to explain and complain, and this time, boy, is she angry at you. All this watching you do. Listen up, you.
Some of the major legitimate concerns of mine are the violations of my constitutional rights, the degree of neglect and nonchalant approach by everyone in my case to substantially progress, and the illegal, non-permissive release and distribution by the Orange County Sheriff's Department of crucial, confidential case files, videos, photographs, documents, etc. pertinent to my case, which I have not even seen or even know about. Everyone knows more than I do about my case. As a result, it is impossible to choose a jury that will be impartial, fair, and uninfluenced by all the mutated, exaggerated, hyped sensationalism. I take offense to that. This being a significant reason, I requested a change of venue previously. At this point, it will make no difference. There's nowhere I am not known. The premature, unfair judgment by everyone has wrongfully and inappropriately already been made. I haven't even seen my discovery or know where my attorney is, my sixth attorney. Not only am I, the other party in my case, still in the dark with everything, I am blind and in the dark. This is wrong, unfair, especially for a still proud citizen of the United States of America, and unacceptable. There is more to everything, much more, and in which I've been patient to an extreme to explain, interpret, and educate what now seems to be to the whole world.
The strain of educating the whole world is unimaginable. Between that and being a political uniter, she's got less free time than Spider-Man.
I am hopeful the governor will be able to untangle the chaos and mistreatment. No one else seems to be available or willing to abide by the protocol of our justice system and rightfully eagerly apply themselves. I'm hoping, still, these aforementioned topics can be further discussed at the hearing on the 20th, and in which I am bringing to everyone's attention prior. I have not heard from my court-appointed attorney to date, so I am unaware what else may be on the docket. It's time to finally move forward and in all the right ways. Happy holidays, Sarah Boone.
If all goes according to information currently available, a pre-trial conference is scheduled for January 17, 2023, and the trial will begin promptly on the 30th. We hope you think of us when that happens, because we'll be all over it. But before that, we have a new episode coming up next week, so we hope you've subscribed and hit thumbs up for us if you've made it this far. So until then, friends, let the darkness come alive. We've got Math Boy Fly, aka Daryl Brooks, right here. We'll put up 2 more, and please don't forget to subscribe so you can watch our next live premiere. Later.